Hey kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well, and welcome back to another This Week in the Saddle. We've got an absolutely packed show for you, so sit back, relax, and let's see what we get up to. So welcome back to the channel, folks, and I know what you're thinking. Hang on, didn't Andy say at the end of Bike News that he wasn't going to do as many videos, he wasn't going to do midweek videos, that sort of thing? Well, you're absolutely correct. However, I was supposed to get a bike loan today, and for one reason or other, it's not turned up. So I found myself with a spare day, and it's an absolutely beautiful day today, so I've got to go out and have some sort of a ride on the bike. And I thought to myself, you know what? I've got a few little jobs that I want to do as well. I've got a reader's rise. Why don't I do a TITS today in the saddle? So that's what this is all about. So stick around and stay tuned. Let's start off with a bit of a ride out, shall we?
Well folks, won't you take a look at this? How long have we been waiting in this country for this sort of weather? It's early March, and at last it looks like spring has sprung, or is in the process of springing. Absolutely glorious day today. It just gives us hope we've got a good riding season coming this year. It's all still looking very grey around though, isn't it? No leaves yet showing, but we are starting to get signs of spring. The odd snowdrop and crocus starting to poke through here and there. Absolutely beautiful. Great to see the Ukraine flag there outside that house as well, but let's not get political. Anyway, you will have noticed I'm on my trusty GS, a bike that of course I absolutely love. This is the bike really that I launched, and well, I didn't launch it, but I built my YouTube channel on this motorcycle. It's a very popular bike when it came out, of course. These were the first of the liquid cooled GS's, or partially liquid cooled I should say. Of course it feels like things have moved on and are passing me by now. I've had this bike well over 10 years now. I've no intentions of getting rid of it because it's a great motorcycle. It took me ages to get it exactly to how I wanted it, and it is now exactly how I want it, and it still rides as good today as the day I bought it. So I'm not one of those people that has to have the latest and greatest things. If I find something I like, I stick with it until it packs up entirely, but hopefully that won't happen. Let's hope I haven't torn it by saying that now. So I'm starting to feel a bit old school on the GS 1200 now. I noticed the other day I saw a video, username Kate, she's got rid of her 1200. She was the only other person I know of on YouTube, I think, that was riding a similar bike to me. So she's no longer old school. My mate Dave from Wheelie Good TV, he's gone, well, I was going to say he's gone to the dark side, but he's still got a BMW GS, but he's bought himself the new GS Adventure, despite me begging him almost not to, because it's the ugliest bike on the planet by a long margin. It makes the Harley Davidson Transamerica look like a Ducati. It's that sort of level of repulsiveness, but there we go. Dave obviously loves it, so I know the bike will ride. I haven't ridden one, but I'm absolutely sure it will ride beautifully. The standard GS rides beautifully. I had one of those when they first came out last year. Had one for 6 months, so I really got to know that bike, and it is a stunning bit of kit to ride, there's no doubt about that, and does make this bike feel very old school in comparison. But there was a lot about the bike that I didn't like, unfortunately, which is why I didn't upgrade. And then I was so looking forward to the GS Adventure coming out, because I knew that was going to be a slightly different looking bike. But to my eyes, still, it doesn't tickle my fancy in any shape or form. Although, as I say, I'm sure it's a brilliant rider's bike, but yeah, I can't see me ever owning a new GS while they stick with that design language. But you know, never say never. The standard bike actually has grown on me a little bit, if I'm being honest. But I think that's only because the GSA is so repulsive. Anything looks good next to it. Anyway, let's not get too hung up on that, because I know there are lots of fans of the new GS out there. I've seen one or two on the road now. My understanding is they're selling well, so obviously it's just me that has that issue, and I'm sure they'll do very well for BMW, but I shall be sticking with this one. Oh, hello, my missus is phoning me. That's a bit of a shame, I haven't got my headset switched on. I'll tell you what, I better give her a call back. Speak to you in a mo. Right, well, I stopped and I called my missus, but unfortunately she's on the phone, so I had to leave her a voicemail, which is a bit of a nuisance. That's always the way. What's the better? She phones back again now. I've got all my helmet back on and everything. Right. Where were we? Yes! So I'm feeling a bit old school with the GS, but I don't mind, because as I say, she still rides beautifully, like the day she was born. And they are cracking motorcycles, these. I mean, if you're in the second-hand market, you could do a lot worse than getting a second-hand one of these, I can tell you. This one's now done, I think it's just approaching 33,000 miles, so not massive mileage, I suppose, for the age. I've noticed it's just started telling me it needs a service as well, which is a bit annoying. A number of my bikes are in need of a service at the moment. A bit like buses, they all come at once, don't they? I'm trying to be clever about my bike servicing at the moment and get them MOT'd at the same time, so it cuts down the number of trips that I have to my local bike mechanic Nige, so we can MOT them and service them at the same time. This makes logical sense. Oh, look at this absolutely glorious weather. It's just good for the soul, isn't it? I say it every time, but it's true. Oh, I've waited a long time for this. Okay, I know I had a good spell in Spain, and it was fantastic there riding for sure. Well, here we go, past Space Command for the UK. Resplendent with Hurricane and Spitfire out the front, which is about as far as our space program goes. Oh, look at that, she's calling me again. I knew that happened, must be something important. Alright, I'll speak to you again in a minute. Sorry about this, folks. Right, hello again. Phone call dealt with. You know, some days you just have one of those days. It's turning into one of them today. Started off all good. Then I had a bit of an issue with what I thought I was going to be doing today, which was test riding a new bike. Then my daughter phoned me to tell me she'd broken down in the car and she was in a bit of a state. I had to go and rescue her. And then I had to leave Mrs. Flyer to deal with the recovery people, and now that's all going pear-shaped because they want to charge us, or have charged us, 150 quid to recover the vehicle, even though it's covered. But anyway, these little things are sent to trials from time to time, aren't they? Anyway, back to the bike. And you know, even when you're having one of those days, coming out on a day like this makes you feel good, doesn't it, as I was saying. I'll try and get, like I like to do, at least a little walk every morning, just to get your blood flowing. If I can, I like to get out on the bike at least once a day, because it just lifts your mood and spirits no matter what's going on, doesn't it? Obviously it's not always possible to get out on the bike, but if I can, I do. And of late I've been wanting to ride this bike. I think that's because I rode the Kawasaki so much when I was out in Spain, and it was fantastic out there on that. But I just kind of missed the upright riding experience on this. Not that the Kawasaki is not upright, because of course it is, but you know what I mean. It's a different riding experience on an adventure bike, isn't it, to any other sort of motorcycle. And also, of course, the beauty of these is, even though it's a lovely day, it's not particularly warm. It's about 12 degrees. You know, with all the weather protection on these adventure bikes, then it's pleasant temperature wise, isn't it? Where shall I go? I don't know, let's go up this way for a change. Don't often do this road in this direction. That's a curious pub on my right there, the Red Lion. Look, it looks kind of quaint, doesn't it? But it's never open. Well, it seems not to be. Occasionally you come past and it is open. Thank you, sir. But more often than not, it's not. So I don't quite know what the story is there, that it only opens at like weekends or what, but sometimes it makes you wonder how these businesses can keep going, doesn't it? But there you go. It is going, I'm glad to say. Plenty of pubs are shutting down, aren't they? So let's hope that one does indeed stay open, even if it can only open every now and then. The thing is, when it's unpredictable like that, you don't know when you can go down there, do you? You think, oh, pop down the pub, but it might be shut. Anyway, I digress. So how are you anyway? Have you managed to get out on your bikes in this lovely spell of weather? It's settled all week, so well, certainly is in the southeast of England. At the weekend I was up north. I went to a friend's 60th birthday do, Had a nice time up there, but it's up near Wigan way, and the weather wasn't quite as nice up there actually, at least on Sunday when we drove back. I've got a feeling there might be a bit of cloudy weather up there this week, so if you're in the north and you're not getting this lovely stuff, I apologise for you. Not that it's my fault, but you know what I'm saying. So folks, what do you got planned for your biking year in 2025? Got any good trips planned? Maybe a new bike on the horizon? Any sort of bucket list items that you're going to tick off this year? I've got a few things in the pipeline that I'm really excited about, but I don't want to tell you about them yet because they may not come off. But suffice to say, I'm organising a trip for later in the year, probably in autumn, hope so anyway, which should be pretty flippin' exciting. But I'll say no more than that, because if I give you any hints and tips or clues as to what it is, something will happen and it won't happen. So I'll keep that one under wraps for now, but I'm very excited about that. I think I mentioned before I've got a planned trip to Scotland coming with our friends that we met up on the Alaska trip a couple of years ago. We're looking forward to that. Of course, we've got the ABR Festival coming up again. That's I think it's in June, isn't it? That's in my mind the best bike festival there is, so really looking forward to that. Although I'll probably make it the last time I go for a few years, only because I've been to the last 5 on the bounce. I think people are getting fed up with me being there. Hello. Cops are busy today. What's going on? So yeah, that's something to look forward to. Trying to think what else I've got coming up. Nothing else leaps to mind, but I'm sure there'll be some other. Oh, myself and Mrs. Fly want to do a little Cotswold tour if we can. Again, if we get some settled weather. I'm sure we'll do a Wales trip as well, because that's we have to do at least one of those a year on the bikes. So plenty to look forward to if the weather plays ball for me, as far as the bike's concerned. And of course, loads of reviews coming up. Lots of stuff planned and in the diary over the next few months. Well, what a rambling ride this has been. Just goes to show I can talk about absolutely nothing for as long as you like. Cool, I do talk some squid. Anyway, it's just nice to come out of the bike and great to bring you along. And it's always good to be on the old trusty GS. I'm always complaining that there are no decent roads to ride around, no decent roads to ride around here. And it is pretty tough to find them that are free of white vans or traffic, or a decent road surface. But it ain't too bad round here, is it really? We're 30 miles from central London. Yeah, we've got scenery like this. Can't really complain. Right, well that's cleared out the cobwebs. I think I'll head back home.
Oh, you can't not ride on a day like today, can you? Absolutely glorious out there. It's been a long time coming, spring, hasn't it? But it is now March. Meteorological spring, at least, is here. So you got to make the most of these sunny days. So glad I was able to get out, and I absolutely love that bike as well. All right, so that's that then. So I mentioned there's a few little jobs I want to do in the garage. Well, there's one primary one, which is to do with me keeping a promise to Mrs. Fly. Right, I popped down to Halfords the other day, and I bought myself a tin of this grey primer and a tin of this satin black paint. Now, how hard can it be to sort out a little promise that I made to Mrs. Fly when I damaged her brake reservoir fluid lid thing when we went down to Spain? We packed the bikes in the trailer, and unfortunately my bike moved slightly and the handlebar rubbed on the top of hers. Doing this, I'll show you. This to the top of her brake reservoir cover, which is an absolute nightmare, and if it was my bike it would drive me mad. So I'm going to just pop this off here, and I'm going to prime it, paint it. Hopefully it'll keep Mrs. Fly happy. How hard can it possibly be? Right, let's whip this little puppy off then. Just a couple of screws. 1, 2. There we go. Yes. Actually feels quite smooth, so I don't think I need to rub it down or anything. Just, I think, a coat of primer and then a few paints of satin black. Should have that back to as good as new, I reckon. Right, I've set myself up a little painting station. As you can see, outside this time. Last time I did any painting on the channel, people got quite upset because I did it in my garage. So it's in a nice sunny spot, so it should get nice and dry quite quickly. I'm using the top of a wheelie bin as a stand, and I've got myself a little bit to just put the piece above the newspaper on so I can turn it around if I need to. Right, plenty mixing of the primer to start with. Right, I've been shaking that for about 5 minutes, so should be fine. Right, here goes nothing. Right, time for the first coat of black paint, which I have shaken up plenty. Here we go, just a light one to start with. We'll give that a good 20 minutes, half an hour to dry, and then we'll give it one more coat. Right, the sun's moving, also I've had to move the wheelie bin. Let's give it another coat. Right, the sun has moved around a bit, but I'm calling that done. I'm going to stick it back on the bike and we'll see if Mrs. Flower even notices. Right, there we go. Not perfect by any means, but certainly better than it was. So we'll just see now if Carol does spot the difference. All right, time then for a reader's ride. Check this one out. This is Henry's 929 Fireblade. Thank you for sending it in, Henry. He says, I've owned this for 2 years, which is completely stock except for R&G crash bungs. It was previously owned by James May, well, for a number of years, and as you'd imagine, it was a great buy and in immaculate condition, all for a very bargain price too. Well, I didn't imagine it'd be a bargain price. That's excellent. I prefer late 90s and early zeros or noughties bikes compared to brand new machines, says Henry. Even though it's down on power compared to the latest machines with a claimed 153 brake horsepower and a weight of only 170 kilograms, it's lighter and more powerful than the original Hooligan R1 with Honda build quality. 153 brake horsepower this day and age is still pretty good, I think. And 170 kilograms, what happened to bikes weighing that? Incredible. It's my first bike, Henry says, that I've saved for drive days only, and so far it's only been out for 100 mile or so rides on my local roads, sometimes with my 13-year-old on the back. He's brave. On my own, I have pushed it and it's crazy fast, but I do wonder if a much newer, more powerful, much more expensive superbike would be, one, more fun. I doubt it, Henry. And two, worth the extra money. Probably also, I doubt it. I think stick with what you got. The bike itself looks better in the flesh than the pics suggest, and the pics look pretty good to me. May not have won the group test back in the day, but it's far superior in terms of handling than I'll ever be able to use on the road. It lifts the front wheel in second under full acceleration. It's comfortable and the brakes are strong. It's got loads of under-seat storage, and all it really needs is a rare Rentec luggage rack. It cost me just £2,750 with 24,000 miles on the clock, and insurance is cheap on a classic policy. Sounds like an absolute bargain, Henry. Hadn't cost anything else to run apart from tax. Only downside is the engine character compared to the V4 I had before, and you have to scream the engine for it to excite you, and then you're going too fast. We all know that feeling. Plan is to do the NC500 this summer, and also to get out with a pillion or two via a Facebook group to broaden my biking circle. So that's fantastic. Thank you, Henry, for sending that in. Bike looks absolutely incredible, and yeah, why change it if you still love it? Thank you very much for that. So yeah, if you've got a motorcycle that you think we might be interested at looking at here on Reader's Rides, then do send me a message to themissingtonfly@gmail.com, and if you put in the subject line Reader's Rides, that way I'll know what it's for, and I'll make sure I find it and send me 2 or 3 preferably landscape pictures, and we'll possibly feature it on a future Reader's Rides. Give me some background to the bike as well, why you like it, what you've done on it, that sort of thing. That'd be brilliant. All right, there we go. That's it then for TITS today in the saddle. I hope you enjoy that, and yeah, look forward to bringing you another one soon. Until then, this has been the Mr. Fly. Cheerio.